Hey, what is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel, Just Simply Sports here with me. I am Kaja, and if you are new to my channel, I welcome you. Please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're not new, you're a part of my sports YouTube family. You know how I feel about you. Now, I know everyone by now has seen the viral clip of LeBron James pressing Stephen A. Smith about comments he made about Bronny from a few months ago. But I'm trying to figure out, are you mad at the messenger or are you actually mad at the message?
Now let's go to Philadelphia, where Bronny James last night played his most minutes by far in an NBA game last night as the Lakers lost to the 76ers 118-104. Bronny was held scoreless in 15 minutes and struggled guarding Sixers star Tyrese Maxey. I am not a person that had a problem with Bronny James being on the court for the season opener with LeBron James. That was a phenomenal moment. To see a father on the court with his son who has NBA aspirations playing together for the first time in NBA history. The Griffeys in baseball, Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. were in attendance for it. It was a special moment. My position has always been that should have been the only moment we saw Bronny James in a Lakers uniform this season because he's not ready. I'm not here to tell you that he won't be ready. I'm not here to tell you that he won't be an NBA player. I'm not here to tell you that he should give up his dreams and his aspirations. I think the kid's got potential. I think the kid will be in the NBA one day. I watched him in the G League doing this thing. I think he's going to be fine eventually. But that's not the case yet. Bronny James has played in 13 NBA games. Ladies and gentlemen, he's averaging 0.3 points, 0.3 assists, and 0.4 rebounds. I'm not being cruel to Bronny. I'm looking out. Do you want it this way, LeBron? Do you want it this way, Rich Paul? Do you want it this way? He can't go into the G League and average 20, 25, and stay there until he's ready?
A lot of layers to this in my personal opinion, but I want to say I feel like LeBron James needs to keep the same energy across the board. Stephen A. Smith is not the first person to speak out about Bronny James and about him not being ready. We saw Jaylen Brown say that he was not an NBA player outright. We saw Rashad McCants on Gil's Arena say on more than one occasion he should have stayed in school. He was not ready. Now, by all accounts, he has, since this happened, he has grown by leaps and bounds. He's doing great in the G League. But at the time that this actually happened, because this is a little bit older now, he didn't look the same and he wasn't ready. We all know that he went in the second round. He was drafted 55th overall. Typically, that means that you need more time to develop. Otherwise, you'll be going top 10, top 5, or the first round, or whatever have you, right? But he wasn't. There is nothing wrong with an analyst, I don't care who it is, speaking out fairly and critiquing the game as it's supposed to. They get paid to do that. Now, if Stephen A. Smith came out and said, you know what, Bronny is trash. He has no business being in the NBA ever. He's an awful kid person, he was assassinating his character specifically or personally, then I'm like, okay, you know what? As a father, as a parent, you are out of line. Do not play with me on my kid. I get it. But that was not the case. Everything Stephen A. Smith said was fair, and it was specifically pertaining to Bronny and his development and how he looked in that game. He was not the only one at that time that Bronny went viral to talk about how he looked in that game and how he was not ready. And I know that people say, look, no, LeBron is a dad. He's hyping his kid up, and he should hype his kid up. Absolutely. But he is still his kid. We're not talking about a Scottie Pippen Jr., respectfully. We're not talking about, Kenyon Martin Jr. We're talking about LeBron James, who is arguably top 2, number 1, depending on who you ask, the greatest player of all time in the sport of basketball. So his son playing with him alongside him at the same time, is going to come with critique, is going to come with eyes and people doing videos and podcasts, whatever it is about his son, because it's clickbait. It gets attention. We know how this works. Now, my thing is, if LeBron is trying to protect his son, then how is he going to be an NBA player? Because once he comes out the G League, and he starts playing in the NBA. Let's say he comes out the G League and he plays in the playoffs and he has a bad few minutes, 3 minutes. People have to talk about that? Really and truly, you think people are not going to actually talk about, JJ Redick and LeBron having Bronny come out there in the playoff game and allowing him to play, knowing that he wasn't ready and all these different things, and he looked crazy, or he only made one shot, he missed all his free throws. People are going to talk about it. And when you put your son out there, whether or not you're hyping him up or not, as a father, as a basketball player, if you're hyping him up, you're, hey, look at my son, he's great, he's better than half the players right here. I'm sure there's somebody that he is better than who's on the bench far at the end, but they're on the far end of the bench. They're not in the game playing. They're not starting, and they're certainly not getting, a whole bunch of minutes. You know what I mean? Like, if you actually watch the Lakers, who really watches it? Let me know in those comments. Quincy Oliveri he got a 2-way contract. He was in the G League. He was doing extremely well, and then got dropped, got waived. Why is that? In my humble opinion, it was so Bronny can get an opportunity to get more minutes and get more of the shine. Y'all don't want to have that conversation, okay? Again, that's something like that also is going to come with critique and raise some eyebrows. So it's like, okay, how did this young man get waived when by all accounts he was a lot more developed and ready than Bronny was, and you just waived him? Why is that? You know what I mean? Dalton Connect. I'm like, why are we trying to trade Dalton Connect, who, again, by all accounts, at the time that he was supposedly traded, or they tried to trade him, he was knocking down threes, again, more developed than Bronny, but again, it creates opportunity for Dalton Connect from Bronny. Now, as a parent, I'm not mad. I get why LeBron did it, or he was behind it, or Clutch, or whoever it was, because you want your son to have opportunity, or more of opportunity. That makes perfect sense. But from a basketball standpoint, it's like, really? He's not ready. There's nothing wrong with pointing out the obvious at the time that he was not ready. I don't understand this notion of NBA players now, like, don't talk about us in a negative light, and people are going to talk about you. They talked about KD, about Devin Booker. The Suns right now look crazy out here on these basketball streets. You know what I mean? People are talking about the Suns. They're talking about it. How this is arguably the worst trade, one of the worst trades, how this is the big three is dead, and all these different things. Kevin Durant needs to go. I mean, it may not be right, but people are looking at the outcome of having a Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and a KD, and the facts speak for themselves, the numbers speak for themselves. It has not worked. Does not mean they're not all still great players, and they're not going to still find success or be successful, but for whatever reason, it's not working together. This trio, is not working. So as an analyst, you have a job to do. Your job is to watch the games and critique the games. For me, I feel like LeBron kind of used Stephen A to send a message to the analysts, about speaking about him and about his family. That's what I feel like it really boiled down to. Stephen A Smith, obviously, being as big as he is, whether or not you like him, he was, he was the message, so to speak. Now, if Brian James is going to continue to play in the NBA, he's going to get critiqued. So now, is it fair if everybody stops talking about Bronny James because they're afraid LeBron's going to press them? If they do speak about him, should people not speak about him honestly and fairly? Should they now kind of tiptoe around it and just say only good things about him? How is that helping him? How is that fair to him? Like, do you want him to be treated fairly? Like, you want him to be seen as an NBA player, or to be seen as your son? Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation in the comments. I look forward to reading your comments and maybe learn something that I'm missing right now. They got me stuttering, you guys. Because I'm like, leave Stephen A. Smith alone. This is crazy to me. He didn't say anything bad about Bronny as a person. If he did, I'd be like, Stephen A's out of pocket. It is what it is, but he did not. Let me know in those comments. Again, you guys, I will see you, of course, in the next video.